On the face of it, No Man's Sky and Light No Fire are completely different games, but under the hood, there is a lot of similarities going on. It's almost like they were twins separated at birth and raised on totally different planets. Sean Murray has been hinting for months now, in fact perhaps even over a year, that Hello Games have been using the same tech across both of their titles. And if you've been paying attention to the last few No Man's Sky updates, you can definitely see it. They're quietly building the technical foundations for Light No Fire right in front of our eyes. So in this video, I'm going to break it all down. The confirmed systems, the hidden clues buried in recent updates, and wild but all possibly plausible theories about what might actually carry over. So let's get stuck in. But first, let's quickly rewind back to 2016, when No Man's Sky launched with the hype of the Thousand Suns and the crash of an asteroid. It promised infinite planets, endless exploration, multiplayer, and a lot of other things which just weren't ready on day one. But instead of vanishing like most studios would do after a bad launch, Hello Games did the opposite and did the impossible. They shut up, they put their heads down, and they've spent nearly a decade rebuilding their game from the ground up. Over 30 massive updates later, No Man's Sky went from meme to masterpiece. And all that time, through all of those updates, they were secretly building a super flexible engine to power it all. The kind of procedural sandbox tech that could power, well, anything I guess. Sean Murray himself has said that every time they add new tech for No Man's Sky, they abuse it for Light No Fire and vice versa, and that means a lot of the updates we've seen for a couple of years now have been quietly beta testing Light No Fire. So what is that shared tech we actually already know about? And let's start with the big one, and of course the most recent one, ship customization. The Voyager's update at No Man's Sky was the clearest evidence yet that Hello Games is building something far bigger than space exploration. It has introduced fully walkable, fully customizable corvettes, which can be massive ships that aren't just vehicles anymore. They are homes, they are mobile bases, you can decorate them, you can walk through them, you can literally fly this mobile base through space. Now here's where it gets interesting, because in interviews Sean has said that Light No Fire will have real oceans that you can sail across, requiring large boats and large crews, possibly. So what do you get when you combine walkable ship interiors with a game that's all about crossing oceans? You get exactly the same tech, just reskinned for fantasy sea-going vessels rather than sci-fi flying spaceships. They're basically already testing the physics for big, player-built vessels. They're already syncing interiors to exteriors in real time. They've nailed the procedural placement of assets inside moving environments, which can tend to be a bit of an engineering nightmare. But it's the exact nightmare you'd have to solve for Light No Fire anyway. So yeah, those shiny new No Man's Sky ships, they're not just for show, they're basically Light No Fire prototypes. Next up, oceans. For years, No Man's Sky had oceans pretty much in name only. They were shallow, basically, but recently, Hello Games have totally reworked them, and they've been deepening them massively. The world's updates have completely reworked water physics, underwater rendering, and even the way light behaves under the surface. And that's not just for No Man's Sky, because again, Sean's already confirmed Light No Fire will feature real oceans that require boats and crews, as I mentioned a minute ago. This isn't some procedural puddle, we're talking massive Earth-sized seas. So, what's the link? No Man's Sky water tech is the testing grounds. They're experimenting with ocean shaders, buoyancy, warp and wave interaction, just on a planetary scale. When they've nailed the underwater lighting and physics, that wasn't just for alien fish. That was the groundwork for Light No Fire's boats, storms, and potentially even naval combat. It's almost like Hello Games are using No Man's Sky as a playground to test the laws of physics in their engine before committing them to Light No Fire. Now let's move on and talk about scale, because this one's kind of wild. We all know by now that Light No Fire takes place on a literal Earth-sized planet, so that's not marketing fluff, that's literally 510 million square kilometers of procedural terrain for us to fully explore. But to get a game engine powerful enough to deliver that, you need world streaming tech. And that tech needs to be so advanced that it can render continents, mountain ranges, and perhaps even cities. You can't just brute force it. And again, if you look at what No Man's Sky has been doing lately, we've had massive terrain updates, improved LOD streaming, volumetric clouds, improved distance-based rendering. It's definitely clear they've been preparing for something way bigger than the planets we currently see in No Man's Sky. In No Man's Sky, the scale of the entire game is basically infinite, but overall it's abstract. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you think about it, you never really feel the true size of a planet because, well, gravity physics and the atmosphere don't match reality. But in Light No Fire, Hello Games have grounded it. They want a world that feels real, one where we're walking from one continent to another, and it might take literal days for us to do that. And perhaps the craziest part, they already have the tech for it. They've just been tuning it for No Man's Sky one patch at a time. Like these new gas giant planets are a step in that direction, for example, and I for one cannot wait to see how this engine performs in Light No Fire. Alright, the next thing Hello Games have drastically changed recently perhaps could be boiled down to visuals. Every major update in No Man's Sky lately, so Worlds Part 1, Part 2, and Voyages, have quietly reworked a lot of their lighting and transparency systems. They've been experimenting with things like order-independent transparency, which basically means clean glass, fog, and water that layer correctly without any visual glitches. And also those improved clouds and shadows that actually respond to the light sources. And this is a pretty damn big deal. Why? Well, for Light No Fire, which obviously takes place on a single planet, realistic lighting isn't just eye candy, it's kind of world building and immersion building. Imagine campfires at night that actually light up a forest canopy, or sunlight filtering through rain during a storm. That stuff sells immersion, and they're testing all of it right now in No Man's Sky. It's like every time we get some sort of visual overhaul patch, they're saying, yeah, this one is for you space travelers out there, but it's also for that other project that we're not going to reveal much about just yet. It's all kind of exciting, but I would definitely love to see more of Light No Fire at the same time. Right, let's talk about multiplayer. Now, No Man's Sky has gone from basically a solo survival game at launch to a full-blown multiplayer game if you so desired. You can crew ships, you can build bases, you can travel together, and the Voyages update sort of added multi-crew functionality because it kind of lets players work together on giant vessels entirely created by you. Like, I was exploring someone's covert on the Anomaly the other day, and suddenly I'm off on a flight with them, and I've been taken to their settlement base. But back to Light No Fire, because Sean has already said boats and ships will need crews. And Light No Fire is a multiplayer world. That's basically the same thing, just on water instead of in space. So when you're watching No Man's Sky players pilot massive ships as perhaps teams, remember that Hello Games are making sure that Light No Fire's multiplayer doesn't break the moment someone jumps on a boat with their mates. It's all about part of that shared DNA. But to round up all of that shared tech before we go on to some potentially even cooler stuff, recent No Man's Sky updates have basically been a testing ground for features that we know are going to be in Light No Fire. So custom ships, we're just changing space for seagoing vessels, those massive oceans with great depth, the overscaling tech, the new atmospherics and lighting, and finally the multiplayer improvements. It's all going to be, hopefully, excellent. But let's get into a little bit more of a fun part, the speculation zone, and a strong disclaimer. These are definitely not confirmed, but they're based on patterns we've already seen in the last 18 months to 2 years. And first up, walkable interiors everywhere. Now, if ships can have fully explorable interiors, then it's not a stretch to imagine that Light No Fire is going to let you build or explore things like castles, towns, forts using the same framework. We already know we can build stuff together. We might be able to properly walk through literally everything we come across as well. So that whole move while inside tech is basically universal once you've cracked it for one game. Second is procedural generation at a realistic scale. In No Man's Sky, the planets are algorithmic with no two exactly the same. I mean, sure, some are very similar, but they're never an exact carbon copy of the other. Light No Fire takes that concept, but it anchors it into a bit of realism. Expect real-world topography logic, so continents, different climates, tectonics, basically. Procedural generation with a bit of a dose of geography shoved in for good measure. We should get areas like deserts, we should get forests, perhaps ice deserts as well, massive oceans, mountains, and everything in between. Third is environmental realism. So we're talking about things like dynamic weather events, better water physics, storms that actually matter instead of just covering an entire planet at the same interval every time. All of these things were teased in recent No Man's Sky Worlds updates, and that kind of screams testbed. And they're going to improve it by the time Light No Fire comes out as well. I certainly hope so. And finally, civilization systems. Okay, hear me out a little bit on this one. Hello Games have been experimenting with settlements, AI behaviors, and community building in No Man's Sky for a number of years now. Now imagine if they take that even further. So not just the same random alien outposts dotted around, but NPC villages or even player-driven civilizations. It does fit the fantasy survival vibe of Light No Fire perfectly, with the added dose of RPG that they have promised comes with it. On the whole, though, it is not a stretch to say that No Man's Sky and Light No Fire are almost a mirror image of one another. If you think about it, No Man's Sky is all about the infinite, so endless planets, endless systems, kind of beauty where you realize just how small you are in this massive, massive universe. Whereas Light No Fire, on the other hand, flips that on its head totally. It's one planet, there's one world. It's not about feeling small in the vast universe. Instead, it's about finding meaning in the place that you build on this singular planet with other players. And that's what the team over at Hello Games do best. They turn technical feats into an emotional experience. No Man's Sky was all about scale, and Light No Fire will be about belonging, building, and surviving together. And every new tech system that we do get for No Man's Sky, from water physics to ship interiors and customization and whatever else they introduce between now and Light No Fire releasing, they aren't just upgrades. They're clear about how they're building a world that will actually feel kind of lived in. And I've waffled on a lot, but what does all of this actually mean? Well, in a nutshell, it means that No Man's Sky isn't just a game anymore, because it now also doubles as a live research and development environment for Hello Games. Every single update we download might be secretly testing some Light No Fire world engine, maybe the lighting systems, a physics model, literally anything in between. I mean, in fact, there's no secret about it. That's almost exactly what is happening. Sean Murray himself has said this on multiple occasions. It also means that Hello Games aren't starting from scratch anymore. They've got 9 years of continuous tech development, and the rest before that actually, and a fully modular engine that they can bend to almost any setting, whether that be space, sea, or land. And it also means that when Light No Fire finally drops, whenever the hell that may be, it won't just be a spiritual successor. It'll kind of be the evolution of everything that No Man's Sky has taught them over the years. But it also hopefully means that when it does come to launch, it'll be in a much better state than No Man's Sky was way back in summer of 2016. Overall, this is what happens when a studio doesn't move on from a project just because it's done. They build on it, they iterate, they evolve it, and then they move on to something new whilst taking the best parts from the first project with them. So the next time you see a No Man's Sky patch with visual improvements, maybe ocean overhaul, ship interiors, something else, remember that's not just a content update for No Man's Sky, that is likely a sneak peek at Light No Fire as well. Hello Games have spent the best part of a decade building upon one of the most resilient, creative, and downright ambitious indie games ever made. And now they're about to unleash it on a totally new frontier, one that trades galaxies for a single, massive, Earth-sized fantasy world. And if they can pull that off, it won't just be another redemption story, it'll be proof that small studios can, from time to time, out-engineer the big guys through pure persistence and creativity. Now that I've just brain dumped all of that on you guys, what do you think? Which No Man's Sky feature do you most want to see reimagined in Light No Fire? Is it the ship systems, the oceans, or something completely new? drop it in the comments and I'll be deep in those replies reading through your thoughts. And that about wraps up this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, it would be totally awesome if you could support my channel by hitting those like and subscribe buttons. You can now become a channel member as well, and as always, thank you for watching this video, and I hope to catch you in my next one.